Hi, I'm Colin Ong. I'll give an example about how Metaverse can be used in business. In this case, let's imagine that you're setting up an Italian restaurant from scratch. So what you do is I'm going to talk about setting up the kitchen and then later on the dining area. So kitchen, assuming that you have different sections of the kitchen, you have the soup, you have the pasta, you have the cakes, and the lasagna, spaghetti. So you decide on the certain areas, and then you get the chief cook and the various members, and you interview them and tell them how you want certain ingredients or certain stove to be situated to create your most efficient way of working. All right. So what happens is that then what you do is you get seven of them to simulate what is their movement, and you denote these people by different shapes. So whenever the shapes touch each other, it'll be recorded into a response spreadsheet. And what will happen is that this will be recorded and the time will be recorded. So what you do is you have different orders, and then everybody will be maybe using their computers to say what's their movement, and they move their mouse. And every time certain objects touch each other, that is recorded. Now, if this is very difficult, you can actually go down to your friend's restaurant and wear special notes which they use in movies, and then from there you can do the simulation, which I think is ultimately much more expensive, but it's more accurate, I guess, right? So then all this is put in. Now, why do you do that? It's very useful because when you use data analytics, right, correct, you can actually literally design the most efficient use of space in which the food can be cooked as fast and as well, of course, without too much movement of the various workers and employees and cooks within the kitchen. All right, and that's one way how metaverse. Because sometimes when in kitchen, everybody's screaming, everybody's getting going to the same direction to get a fridge and blah blah blah. Right, correct. So by you doing scenario planning, you can actually build a very efficient and yet comfortable, ergonomically very nice kitchen area for every different person's cook. And when people are happy, their productivity increases, the quality of food will increase, customers are more happy. That's number one. Number two, you can also design the most efficient dining area. What is the size? What's the optimal size of the table? Taking into account COVID and social distancing, you have to take into account that, of course. And then what can people do to how what's the best design? How near and what kind of views do they have? And what's the movement of uh, the waiter, and that so that they don't get to each other? How can you get the food to the table as fast as they can? And also you start to plan using drones. So what I'm trying to say is that the metaverse allows the owner to enter in and to see with his own eyes how the design of his restaurant and his kitchen is not only aesthetically beautiful, but is also efficient in terms of size, in terms of speed of getting the food, and in terms of, and sometimes when you maximize space, you also minimize power, and you save power. It's more sustainable. You can even go to carbon zero. All right. So all this is called metaverse, meaning you can actually create all this stuff like the kitchen. You can actually get all the different workers to comment about how what's the real kind of movement, so you can actually design such a way that less people obstruct each other when they're working, and they're happy, they're not too close to each other, there's no space, they get very claustrophobic. So that's the beauty of metaverse is, as I said, a very good way of planning a business to minimize wastage. All right, if you need more advice, do email me colinongts@hotmail.com.